right, so I think we are live. Welcome to Exploring Glorantha, um, episode 3, uh, First Adventures. So, first of all, welcome. I am JM. If you know a lot about Iconic, or basically just the bare minimum of Iconic, you know who I am, and you have heard my voice before. With me is my good friend Evan. Evan, thank you for joining me on this wonderful exploration of the settings and games that we love so much.
Always happy to be riding along with you.
Well, before we get started, we just wanted to share a little bit of news. Glorantha news. We'll do this as often as we can. The big news in Glorantha is the fact that Hero Quest is sort of going away. Not the game, but the name. So, for those of you who don't know, HeroQuest was originally a name that was tied to a property owned by Hasbro. It was a board game that many of us grew up playing. And then that trademark lapsed, and Greg got it because, well, Hero Questing is a big part of Glorantha, the Gloranthan experience, and that's what he titled his. What was it? It was something different. It was Hero Wars. Then it became Hero Quest.
That's right.
But
Once he got
sorry, go ahead, Evan.
yeah, once he was able to, once the name was available for him to use as a product, switched
Yeah.
it to Hero Quest.
So, in a series of events that we know nothing about, like literally just what we've read on the internet, Hero Quest has Chaosium. That trademark has reverted back from Chaosium to Hasbro. They are currently launching their Kickstarter, or crowdfunding, I guess is the technical term, for the HeroQuest board game. And HeroQuest Glorantha is being rebranded as Quest Worlds. Now, one of the reasons this is exciting is that Quest Worlds will take the HeroQuest mechanics and they will push it out not just to Glorantha, but to a variety of other genres. So if you like the rules light, very narrative focus of HeroQuest, now Quest Worlds, they're going to start doing additional setting books, as I understand it. This is kind of what we have here. If you go to the Chaosium website, you can find this is the new logo for the game, and there's actually now a systems reference document that you can just use to kind of make your own HeroQuest games and Quest World games. I'm going to have to get used to that. And apply it to whatever genre you like. Now, of course, for us, it's probably still going to be the genre we like is Glorantha. But any thoughts on that before we get into our main episode discussion?
Well, it's interesting. So I would also recommend to the audience that if you do use Facebook, that there is an active Facebook group for Quest Worlds now, which is led by the line lead for Chaosium, and he posts a lot of useful information, and there's been a lot of discussion about the system reference document, and that if you are interested in that rule set and applying it to anything, but of course we recommend Glorantha, check that out, because Chaosium is really good about engagement with the community. I mean, my other thought is that, of course, it's hard to balance having a number of lines of games, and I think diversifying Quest Worlds is going to help it flourish. While Chaosium is probably going to be concentrating on RuneQuest, Roleplaying Glorantha as sort of its flagship Glorantha game.
Yeah, and I think that. Sorry, I was just pulling up to see if we had any comments from last time. I really enjoy the HeroQuest, the Quest Worlds game, especially for when I'm running play-by-post. I think that was the first Glorantha game you and I played in, Evan, was a
That's right.
play-by-post HeroQuest game. And what's interesting about it is it really actually fits kind of the style and back and forth of a play-by-post game. So if you are somebody who doesn't have a live group but have some friends that you could play with on Discord or over a forum, go check it out. Right now, the SRD is free. And with that beautiful book behind Evan, the Gloranthan source book, you could probably put together a really great hack of Glorantha. But hey, we're going to get into that now. So, welcome to Exploring Glorantha, episode 3, part 2, kind of first adventure. So in the last one, we talked a lot about how to start a Gloranthan campaign. You know, like, why would you want to do it? Where should you set it? What game systems? We went real big. We talked about themes. We talked about... Now we're going to talk about, all right, you've got a group. You've pitched them on Glorantha. How do you get that first adventure put to the table? The simplest solution, I think, is go check out like the free RuneQuest Quick Start if you're doing RuneQuest. There are several adventures in the 13th Age Glorantha rulebook. RuneQuest has a ton of adventure books. HeroQuest has a ton of adventure books. So in that way, if you just want to say, all right, cool, here we're going to go to the table, I have something right now, use one of those adventures. They're fantastic. I've run more than my fair share of the introduction adventures for HeroQuest, RuneQuest, and 13th Age Glorantha. The other thing you can always do, and we failed to mention this, I think, the forums at the basic role-playing website. So go to Chaosium and then go to the forums. It is active. It is wonderful. It is a welcoming community. They will answer any questions, from the basic system questions to the most obscure questions about Gloranthan mythology. There is a "we are all us." You may hear us say this multiple times. It is a lunar phrase to just kind of talk about like the inclusion in the Lunar Empire. We are all us, and that is a sentiment that is embraced by even the most lunar-hating Gloranthan fans, because it is such a wonderful world and such a far off the beaten path that when we find people who love this setting as much as we do, we just want to include you in everything that's going on. But maybe you want to just start your own thing. So where do you start? That's kind of the focus here. Kind of one of the first steps is, I think, like a goal-oriented or mission-oriented adventure does as well in Glorantha as it does in any other role-playing game. From the start, say, here's who you are, here's what you're doing, and why. That takes a lot of the pressure of what's going on off of the players. It establishes the hierarchies. It establishes the theme of Glorantha. So, like, by hierarchies, remember, the individual is really just it's fractals all the way out. The individual is part of the group, and the group is part of the clan, and the clan is part of the tribe, and the tribe is part of the kingdom. That is important. So when your clan chieftain or the clan circle comes to you and says, we need you to do this, it establishes you are not some independent murder hobo running around Dragon Pass. You are doing this because it's important for the survival or the continuation of your clan. Evan, I feel like I've been doing all the talking. Sorry. I woke up, I got coffee in me.
Right. Well, just to elaborate on that a little bit, the idea is, again, to use these early adventures to introduce the world and important relationships. So that hierarchy idea, and whether you're in sort of a traditional Dragon Pass or Lanthe clan situation where there's a chief who has a ring of advisors who tells you what to do, or whether it's something more off the beaten path, like you're in a mercenary company
Mm-hmm.
and you have responsibilities. But I think there's two things that we're introducing in this sort of introductory adventure. One is that um, you have responsibilities to to some hierarchy, whether it's your clan, your mercenary company, um, your temple,
Mm-hmm.
and very often you have responsibilities in all of those directions.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is that you are important. The characters are the main. They're not the supporting cast. They're the main cast. We may be building them up, but um, the fact that they may have a subordinate responsibility to certain individuals helps frame the story, but the story is about them and them becoming heroes. And so um, they, from the start, you want them to be making important decisions.
Mm-hmm.
They may be about smaller things at first, whether or not it's a minor conflict or working out some situation that requires an interpretation, like there's a dispute that needs to be worked out, but they are being groomed
Mm-hmm.
because they have shown um, attributes of greatness, which you're hoping that the course of the adventures are going to be fulfilling.
Yeah, and I think that's an important part of the Glorantha experience. You are important. You are the hero in whatever version you're playing, right? In RuneQuest, you start off as more of the hey, I'm an important member of the clan in a group of people who are about the same starting point as you. Whereas in 13th Age Glorantha, you are the big damn hero because it's 13th Age. Now, the other thing I would say is you really want to, for your first adventure, pick out one specific point of Gloranthan interaction that we talked about last week. So whether it is, right, so take the Broken Tower, the introductory adventure for RuneQuest. It starts off very with a very focused mission of hey, this rival clan stole a bunch of your cows. Figure out what happened. Go get them back. Very clear mission. You have been entrusted with like recapturing the wealth of your clan. And then they come across this forgotten fortress from the god time and a goddess who is no longer remembered. Very clear mission. 1 point of Gloranthan interaction. In the next valley over, which is a free 13th Age Glorantha adventure. Chaos has attacked your town. You are the ones sent to go get help, and along the way, you encounter chaos again. Very clear mission. 1 point of Gloranthan introduction. One that I have run many times, sort of my intro adventure to any Gloranthan setting, when I want to kind of explain hero questing, I have what I call, because I have no better name for it yet, the reverse hero quest. Basically, the adventurers are on a mission, and when we do our episode on hero questing, possibly in December, I'm very excited about that one. One of the parts of a hero quest is the summoning of evil, where as you are reenacting this myth, you get like the evil or the adversary role is actually played by someone that you don't know. It can be summoned. And so I have this introductory adventure that I run where the brew are attempting to do a hero quest, and your heroes are the ones who get summoned. You are the evil in a chaotic hero quest. And so it sort of introduces the idea of hero questing without all of the other trappings that could be overwhelming to a new group of players.
Um, and I am interested in, I would play the heck out of that, but my proposal for an introductory adventure is the point to point exploration of the sandbox that you may be in. That your job is, you have a mission, but your mission is to accompany some important person who is in some ways assessing the player characters. And my model for this is from the classic Borderlands campaign pack, and the first adventure that they give you is Scouting the Land.
Yep.
But this is easily transferable so I will compare a little bit the sort of classic adventure, which is available now, print on demand apparently. It's in stats for the classic RuneQuest, the second edition, but easily modifiable to RuneQuest Glorantha, or to modify for 13th Age Glorantha, or Quest Worlds, which is one of the wonderful things about these products, is that it's fairly easy to transfer one to the other. So in Scouting the Land, your mercenaries and your mercenary captain, in the service of an exiled lunar nobleman, has to check out the new domain that he has been assigned off in the wastelands. And so you meet all of the various inhabitants, transient and otherwise, and are required to do a number of tasks. So one of the first things is that there's a dispute between two tribes, and basically your mercenary captain says, hey, you figure out what to do, because pretty soon you're going to be patrolling this area, and you're going to have to dispense the justice of the Duke. And it's one of those things with no clear answer. You're going to upset somebody, and so this would be easily transferable. And you may be traveling with the weapon master or the thane of your tribe, and you are promising young nobles or up and coming individuals in the tribe. And again, it's not just a single village. There are lands that are under the domain of a clan, and there are always disputes. Could be a boundary dispute, could be a dispute over some property, or dispute over a relationship, whether or not someone was appropriately in a relationship between two families. And sometimes there are mythological and genealogical rifts in a clan. So there may be a portion of the clan who were adopted, maybe historically, or maybe back in the time of the gods, but they are still somewhat culturally or ethnically distinct, and so there might be a dispute there. And the Thane tells the players, look, you figure out what the adjudication is. Who you have to pick someone, because that's the responsibility of leadership in the clan, is to decide. And you may find out that justice in Bronze Age Glorantha is difficult. The sides may try to bribe you or threaten you, or you may just have to choose even though there's a clear answer in terms of your sense of right and wrong, but then you have to choose what's best for the clan, because maybe the person who's clearly been wronged still can't get justice because it would cause too much of a rift. And so you pose these interesting moral questions right up front, and your characters then gain enemies and friends and reputation from that. And then maybe you meet some traditional enemies, or raiders, and in the Borderlands one, there's a mysterious stone tower that some unsavory types are in, and you have a little skirmish with them. It's a preview of later things that you might have to handle, but it gives you a little combat.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe an unpleasant task in the Borderlands. The Duke has captured spies who have been won't divulge what they were doing, but they were clearly, he's adjudged them criminal, and says they have to be made an example, and basically you're just ordered to execute these individuals. And it is again a test of your, this is the kind of thing you're going to be responsible for doing. You don't have a decision to make here, other than whether or not you're going to keep to your oath. So then, if we transfer this to a traditional, Dragon Pass situation, again, you don't have to necessarily have an execution, although those sorts of things do happen. But maybe you have to dispense some sort of justice. The clan ring has said, this person has offended the clan, and you have to provide the rough justice that exists. Maybe you are ordered to beat someone or escort them and take all their things and outlaw them and tell them, don't come back. And if we see you around here, you are going to be killed. And role play that through. Hey, this is a person. He or she has ties, and again, enmeshing you in the life of the clan, and this to sort of introduce, here's the good and the bad and the ugly. And as you become influential and heroic, maybe you will want to reinforce these things, and maybe there are some things that you will want to change or rebel against. Yeah. And I think that that's an interesting way to have a couple of little vignettes of experience that informs people about how you're approaching the world, and you can really make it your own.
Yeah, and I think kind of boiling down what you just said to kind of a single action point, I think what I'm hearing you say is one of the best parts is saying, hey, push a choice to the players that greatly affects the clan as quickly as possible. Yes. Now, Evan has come up with some great, we came up with a list of things to focus on when you're doing your first adventure. So the first one is that, remember, the world is magical in a way that does not exist in, magic is so prevalent in Glorantha that everyone has magic. And when I say everyone, I do mean everyone has access to magic. In RuneQuest, it's your spirit magic, which are sort of the kind of the inherent ways you interact with the world. Maybe several words to kind of make your blade sharper, or a ritual to make your blade sharper. But you also have your clan and cultic magics. One of the best ways to kind of start with this is sort of what's called the initiation. All children in Glorantha, when they come of age, they go through an initiation. One of the great products to look at for this is 6 Seasons in Sartar. It's available on Drive-Thru RPG, both as a PDF and a print on demand. And actually, in our first episode, we had someone who wanted us to sort of talk a little bit, maybe not about initiation, but sort of the larger roles of gender and identity in Glorantha. And so one of the things to kind of recognize that may be a bit jarring coming into Glorantha is that unlike, say, like an F20 game, there are roles, there are cults that are restricted by sex and gender. So that's something to keep in mind, right? The Orlanthi actually recognize male, female, both, neither, and male roles for gender, female roles for gender, female and male roles, male and female roles, both roles, or neither roles. So there's a lot of complexity in these social interactions. But there's also this really neat thing where, right, generally priests or initiates of Renalda are women. Generally, initiates of Orlanth are male. However, there is this cult of Vinga, which allows, which is like the feminine aspect of Orlanth, or possibly Orlanth's sister. The myths around Vinga are, muddled because that's just sort of how it works. But there is a place for women who want to step into the male roles in the community. There's a place for that. In my RuneQuest game, I actually have a priest of Chalana Arroy, who is, I would say, 99.9% of her initiates and her cult members are female. It is a healing, very protective sort of cult, and yet we have this male who is sort of in the marriage. I'm doing a marriage adventure next this week, and when we looked at it, Sestapos, this priest of Chalana Arroy, will be speaking what is traditionally the female parts of the wedding rite. Well, Harmora, who's this initiate of Vinga, will be speaking the traditional male parts of this marriage. So there's a lot of kind of complexity even in that. But the initiation rites that are presented in Sixth Season in Sartar, it would be a great place to just start and say, congratulations, you've all come of age. Let's get into what that means. And kind of, it's the awakening of the magical soul, the adult soul, if you will. Again, if you go to Prince of Sartar, the webcomic that we talked about every episode so far, the first arc is called Initiation and shows you what that is like. So that's one thing. Focus on one bit of magical interaction. So like in Broken Tower, it's this old goddess. There is the fact that the world is routinely dangerous. And why don't you talk a little bit about that one, Evan?
Sure. Yeah. So we both, in talking about our imagined adventures starting point, have some sort of fighting involved, and that is a important aspect of Glorantha, is that the world is unsettled, and so the idea of protecting clan assets is introduced in the Broken Tower, which is the free scenario, and it also plays an important part in some of the other starter adventures that are available. There's a cattle raid, another cattle raid adventure in the GM Screen Pack adventures book that comes with that, which is a very nice product. And it turns out that there are predators attacking a very important herd, and so it seems straightforward. That there have been attacks. You have to figure out what's going on, and then deal with it. And it requires a level of heroism to successfully do that, because there turn out to be very dangerous creatures that are preying upon these important symbols. Not only they and this also brings you into the world that the cattle are not only wealth, but they have mythic resonance for the clan, and a clan that cannot protect its wealth, can't protect its cattle, can't protect its people, it can't hold its integrity. So
well, I mean, that's the basis for the whole Red Cow campaign, right? That
right.
this clan is trying to use hero quests to bring back this mythical breed of cattle to, without spoiling, to set some dominoes, falling over so that something really important can happen.
That's right. So, there are bandits, there are predators, there's chaos creatures, and so you want to alert alert the players that danger is around every corner,
Mm-hmm.
and the reason that the for example, the main culture that is sort of described in the central books, whether it's 13th Age Glorantha or RuneQuest, is that violence is always an option, and that's because violence is an important tool. There is always another way. The Arnaldan uh, gloss on that is that there are alternatives, but you always have to be ready to fight to protect what is important, and that's an important part of a life of adventure in Glorantha.
Yeah. Now, two other aspects of Glorantha are the idea that life is hard, right? This is the Bronze Age. People are you don't just survive coasting. You are fighting for survival. But also the flip side of that is life is fun. There are a lot of great ways to implement this. I think the easiest one for life is hard is, hey, someone attacks the clan. Your first thing is, hey, cattle raid, attack by chaos or Telmori or a rival clan. But the flip side of that is life is fun. There are always festivals. One of the great things in the RuneQuest GM pack is the calendar, because it's very easy to see when feast days fall, and feast days are a big part of Glorantha. You may not be an initiate of Ernalda, but everyone loves Ernalda when, right, Clearwine Temple has the big feast day where all of the wine, is poured out. You may not care about Orlanth, your character may not, but like nobody throws a party like Orlanth on his high holy day. So there's this tension back and forth, and Evan did a bunch of great research. Both of these have clear adventures that are picked up in the GM pack, the original Apple Lane, which you can now buy on POD, print on demand. I always feel like I'm saying like something weird when I say POD. Rattling Wind on Pegasus Plateau. Those are all about defending something that has value. For Life is Fun, Red Deer Saga, Elgar's Sword, also in the Pegasus Plateau. Great adventures that sort of focus on the fact that it is not all famine, if it makes sense. It's not all violence is always an option. There are these moments of, hey, today the clan takes a break and they come together, and usually it's a great time for chaos to come in. So, Evan, do you want to talk about Life is Adventurous? I really like this as one of the main things to do in Glorantha.
Well, I did want to just go back and talk
Please
a
do.
little bit about Life is Fun. And so you may be saying, well, look, okay, if the Life is Fun, people are going to eat and drink, and but how do I role play that? And it's that, of course, that in a festival there are always contests, and
Mm-hmm.
so that's the focus. It could be a drinking contest. It could be a foot race. It could be a horse race. It could be any number of things, and the rewards might simply be the admiration of your fellows and the clan, or there might be a greater reward that you might gain access to. The next adventure. It's like, oh well, you have the opportunity to do something even greater because you've shown such skill, and that's certainly the Pegasus Plateau
Yes.
adventure is. The better that you do in the feast games, the more likely it is that you're going to be given access to a dangerous but very rewarding adventure that has mythic significance. And so, that's what you want to focus on, is challenging and giving an opportunity not just to hit things with swords, but to possibly have riddle games, have any number of challenges that then allows your characters to shine and show their heroic attributes.
Yeah, I think one of the great, the more I think about this concept, the thing I like most about doing a feast day first adventure is one, as the GM, you get to have fun. You don't have to worry about game balance. You don't have to worry about, did I make these monsters too hard? The other thing you get to do is you get to start the game off centered around the community, very important to Glorantha. And then, if you're a tricksy GM, each of these contests can slowly introduce one aspect of the mechanics to your players. So, a foot race teaches them about chases. A wrestling contest teaches them about combat. A poetry contest teaches them about like skill use. And then if you're ending up starting a campaign, the titles, the reputation, the rewards each become a hook or a grounding point for the characters going forward. You're no longer, Evanar, the warrior. You're Evanar Fleetfoot, who won the contest and next year has to defend his title. And I think that is possibly the most Gloranthan way to sort of start a game, because you're so grounded in the community before you get outside the community. All right, life is adventurous.
All right. So again, an adventure to go check something out, an exploration or treasure hunt. There's something that's needed now. A good example of this available to you all is the Smoking Ruin, which is one of the two big adventure books out for RuneQuest right now, and it gives you a couple of different paths to send the characters off. But essentially, there is a mysterious place, the Smoking Rune, and there's a possibility that there's a lost temple with artifacts important to a religious order. In this case, it's the important Earth goddess Arnalda, and this is a very serious interest to the clan leadership of the Colomar clan, and so you may in fact receive your orders not from your clan chief but from the queen of the clan, and go scout around and come back with the good stuff if you find it. Substantiate whether or not the rumor is true that this lost temple is in fact accessible, and if some of the important religious items are there, or pieces of them which still might provide keys to unlocking mysteries, bring that stuff back. So that's more like a sort of a dungeon adventure, but it has a deep and important point. Go to this mysterious place, check it out, face the dangers, and bring back the treasures. But the reward is not bags of gold, etc. But instead are these important items that you won't be keeping for yourself, but you will be carrying back to your community to gain reputation, support, and build yourself up further as a hero for your community.
Yeah. So once you have all of that set up, and I realize that we've put a lot out there, so please leave questions in the comments. Evan is in charge of responding to them, which means, one, you'll get a prompt response, and two, you will get a detailed response. Evan is really good at engaging and answering questions. But the other thing to keep in mind is, right, we're playing a role-playing game, so you have your starting point. Then I think that it's important to really kind of think about who is important for the players to interact with in your first Gloranthan adventure, and make it specific to Glorantha, right? The three things that I think are the most Gloranthan ways to set up role playing are: one, family, right? In RuneQuest, by the time you get through character creation, you have possibly dozens of family members that your character knows, right? This is not, I come into a city and I don't know anybody. You're starting off with all of the players' social networks in place. So make sure that like you bring up their family members. Ask them, hey, how many brothers and sisters do you have? Hey, who are you going to talk to? Hey, maybe does one of your brothers or one of your sisters or your mother kind of, do you think they would know something about that? And pull in this aspect of family. Also, like, hit up the cults that the players are engaged in. If that's one of the main, in all three games, you're going to know what runes and what cults your characters belong to. That should be a primary source of interaction for role playing. Tell your players, hey, you're an initiate of Yamalio. There is a temple to Yamalio. As an initiate, you can go there, and not only do you have a responsibility to the temple, but the temple has a responsibility to you as an initiate. Go there, ask for provisions, ask for how maybe you can, hey, I have this mission for the clan. Is there anything the cult would like me to do while I'm there? If you're going to the Smoking Ruin, throw in something for the cultist of Yamalio. Maybe there's something in there. And the last thing is the whiter. Would you like to explain what the clan whiter is?
Sure. So the clan whiter is the guardian of the clan Tula. So to break that down,
that makes perfect sense to me. But like, let's define our terms for anybody who is new to Glorantha.
So the Tula is the clan home place, the central locale that is the land, the people, everything together that supports the clan in its space. And the whiter is a guardian spirit, often tied to ancestors or maybe tied to a mythic event that helped create the clan. It is a guardian that oversees the protection in the spiritual realm, and that can be drawn on for defense, but of course has to be propitiated and brought gifts, sustenance, in order to keep the clan in good spiritual health, as much as physical and social health.
Yeah.
And a very important thing, sometimes clans get large, or they just have disputes and they break up, and so then you have to seek a new spirit, even as you seek a new place to reside. Maybe you move, the next valley over, and a story that starts with that, might see the heroes going on a hero quest to find an ancestor or guardian spirit to become the whiter. And so there's that is another level of interaction. And the whiter may know things, or may remember things if asked properly about its contacts, on the other side, and maybe it remembers back to the god time. And so this is another source of information, of power, of story seeds to generate. And so it's important. And even in cities have guardian spirits and patron gods, and nomadic tribes have totems and protective spirits. And so this translates across Glorantha in different ways, but everybody relies on its ties to the spirit world in some way for protection and guidance.
You just gave me a great idea for for my RuneQuest Glorantha game. So sorry to all of my
Excellent.
players, but you can blame Evan when this one comes up. Um, the last thing I think you really want to focus on when you're looking at Glorantha, we talked about, hey, come up with what you would normally do for a uh, an adventure, and then Gloranthify it. And I realize that is not super helpful. So one of the things that I like to say is pick one every adventure, pick one thing that is Gloranthan and make it the set piece, the focus, right? So I mean, you can adapt, as Evan says, it's very easy to adapt other ideas, but really the goal with a first adventure is to say, hey, this is very familiar, except this thing that makes it Glorantha. So whether that's focusing on the cults and the whiners, whether that's focusing on, like for me, a set piece that I like to focus on, obviously with my reverse hero quest, I think I'm calling it the Horn of Plenty now, but right, a hero quest is a great Gloranthan focus. Fighting chaos is a great Gloranthan focus, and I think our next episode we're gonna talk about chaos and why it's so important and why it's so awful in Glorantha. But chaos isn't disorder. It isn't entropy like we think of chaos. Chaos is the thing that takes you away from your community and makes you something else. It's why Sartorites and most of the people in, I mean, even the Lunar who use chaos use it respectfully because they realize it could be the thing that takes you from part of the Lunar Empire or part of a Sartorite tribe and makes you something else, and that's terrifying to a culture that is so focused on being us and being part of something larger. So if we've spent the last two episodes telling you, hey, your characters are part of something larger, respect that, engage with that, chaos is the horror of being ripped away from that. So this could be a fight against chaos. It could be a myth crawl, which is a term that Rob and Jonathan use in 13th Age Glorantha, which is they basically turned myths and hero questing into a type of dungeon crawl. If that sounds exciting, look at the 13th Age Glorantha rulebook. As Evan brought up, contests on Feast Day are sort of the perfect way to make a Gloranthan set piece. Evan, as we're talking about set pieces here, what comes to mind for you when you're sitting down and going, hey, I'm going to introduce a new group of players to Glorantha? What's the set piece you like to go to?
Well, I mean, you really uh, can't do better than a fight. You know, it sounds sort of old school role playing, but having a meaningful combat experience is something that I want to have because it brings in so many different aspects of
Mm-hmm.
the world being dangerous, of of adventure and heroism, and also they're in conflict is our our mythic echoes, are thrown into relief. If you're fighting chaos, then in some ways you are reenacting the dire events of the Gods' War towards the end, where it is between the survival of all life and the end of all things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so, um, I am likely to go to a combat situation. I think the second thing that I might throw in for the kinds of uh, community issues is a situation where you have sort of a trial or hearing or dispute resolution before some authority, whether it's a king or queen, the clan ring, and allowing everybody an opportunity to, um, you know, in 13th Age, it might be a sort of a skill challenge, a dispute back and forth to try to channel events in a particular way to gain some advantage or to persuade the clan to take some very difficult choice, where you're going to generate more adventure, but then of course more adventure means more danger.
Mm-hmm.
And those two things, I'm cheating, I picked two instead of one.
No, it's totally fine.
Are the sorts of things that I think are exciting and allow everybody to participate.
Yeah. Well, here we are at the end of episode 3. Thank you all for viewing this and interacting with us. Big thanks to everybody who commented last time, Ulf and Tim, and I'm going to butcher this, but Exube Ka. Thank you for your comments. Now, as we're wrapping up, we got a couple of things. First of all, also thank you to the iconic patrons. We cannot do this show without you. So if you are enjoying the show and you want to support the channel, consider becoming a patron. We have a pretty robust community on our Patreon. JD does an amazing job interacting. You get to see this episode live. You can participate in the chat. We'll interact. We'll talk. We'll answer questions. As well as you'll get to see, like, for example, tomorrow we're doing another live show for our patrons for the Iconic Podcast. We're talking about giants. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thank you to JD, who goes back and kind of crops the videos and puts chapters and kind of takes our notes and ramblings and tries to organize it a little bit better for you. So we also, thanks to Ulf for pointing out, if you are interested, there is a 13th Age fanzine called Escalation Magazine. And there are issues that deal with Glorantha. Issue 5 and 7 has the adventure Skyfall, and then issue 7 has Under Pressure. There's more Glorantha on the way for the Escalation Magazine. Another great place to find Gloranthan fan material is on DriveThruRPG at the Johnstown Compendium. There is constantly new material going up. There are constantly new products going from PDF to print on demand. To the person who wrote Armies and Enemies of Dragon Pass, I need that to go to print on demand as soon as possible because I want that book like physically. But also, we mentioned there's going to be a contest. So, next month we're talking about Chaos. And the month after that, we're going to start talking about hero questing. But all you have to do to enter the contest is leave a comment down below and tell us what part of Glorantha you would like to see us explore. We may talk a little bit about the winner's question immediately, but what's going to happen is just tell us your favorite part of Glorantha or something that you would like to see us explore, and we will do a random winner next month. So right now it'll run from October 17th if you're watching it live or as part of a Patreon viewing, or you'll see it next week. So it'll run for about a month. And the winner will get a PDF copy of either 13th Age Glorantha, RuneQuest Glorantha, or the Gloranthan source book, to be determined by them. So, Evan, any thoughts, any comments before we wrap up this show of exploring Glorantha?
Well, remember, we are all us, so make sure to spread the news of this contest far and wide. Yes. I know that you might feel like it reduces your chance of winning, but remember, it will increase the number of ideas and features that we will get to explore in the future, and that way we all win, and we are all us.
We are all us. And I do, just so you guys know, in the future, we're going to try and get people who have even more Glorantha experience than us to come on and talk about different topics. But again, next month, November, and if you're a patron, you get to watch this live, and we will interact, and you will be part of the show. If you've watched any of my streams, you know that I love interacting with the chat. Also, check out all the other great shows that we have on Iconic Production. We do the Iconic Podcast. You can go back and listen to Becca talk about Dames and Dice, which is a view of role playing from a woman's perspective. She runs our new Call of Cthulhu show that is live on Mondays on Twitch, and then you can find it on Tuesdays on our YouTube channel. And then there's also It Gets Worse, Adventures in Gebercan, which is run by a good friend of the show's guy by the name of Josh. If you like 5th edition games that are brutal and dark, go check out It Gets Worse. There is no more accurately titled campaign on the internet, in my opinion. So yeah, until next time, Evan, thank you as always. Like, I know it's just a joy to prep and plan this show and then do the show. Evan and I have been talking, like, Glorantha is probably the thing that has cemented this friendship. So until next time, keep exploring myths, keep exploring Glorantha, and keep telling stories.